Hello, my name is Travis Lipp. I'm one of the operations section chiefs for Rocky Mountain Team 1. I'm going to give you a little update on the Wapiti fire and what's going on currently. So we'll start down in the Stanley area. Today is actually day one for our incident management team. We've hit the ground running. We were here yesterday collecting a lot of information, getting intel from the outgoing incident management team, which allowed us to take this fire today and continue the good work that had already been started. So let's start today around Stanley, Iron Creek, Goat Falls community, and moving up into the Halstead and Cow Camp area. So today we have crews in and around Iron Creek and Halstead, these multiple subdivisions where we have homes. We're putting in a combination of dozer line and hand line around all of the subdivisions and homes. So we're going around them as direct as we can. And then we're coming back down around Iron Creek community, down around Goat Falls community, and back around Stanley, tying it into 75. That's our primary line, our first line of defense that we're currently putting in. We still have some dozer line to put in and a little bit of hand line to get that completed. Once that's in, we have crews follow behind and do some prep work behind the heavy equipment, and then we'll put in hose, pumps, porta tanks, water equipment all through those areas. So what that will do is give us a first line of defense around all the structures, subdivisions, and communities, from tying into Highway 21, coming around all these, back down into 75, including coming around Stanley. Currently, we also in the Cow Camp area, where the fire did move across Highway 21 yesterday in the Cow Camp area, and it's got into the Halstead fire in some areas. We do have folks in here today mopping up around structures and in these areas where it moved into some of the grassy areas and then just kind of went out. So folks are in there mopping up, securing structures, and looking for heat sources. Continuing, moving on up Highway 21 to the north, we do have folks also continuing on this highway where we had fire impact the highway, not only here, but as we go around the fire. We got fallers in there, falling snags. One of the issues we're having is we continuously have rocks, trees fall across the road and impact it. So working with Idaho Department of Transportation, some of our fallers were able to get in there and get the road cleared so that we can get our crews in there and they can continue to be able to move around freely. The fire did move up across Highway 21 to the north. Current activity today, with a little bit of moisture that we've had, cloudy, cooler, damper weather, we're not seeing a lot of fire spread in any portions of the fire. Where there's grass, of course, with high humidity and wet conditions, not seeing really any movement in the grass. Where you have the deadened down heavy materials that's very dry, yeah, we are seeing those heavy fuels burn and continue to consume. What you're not seeing is the activity like we had yesterday, where it's sustained, making a sustained movement. So those deadened down fuels, even with the cool, wet weather, continue to be very dry and carry fire. So we'll continue to move up to the north and then back down around on the west side of the fire. So we have resources focusing on the east side and focusing on the west side west side of the fire. Again, critical values are our primary, what we're looking at right now, primary areas to protect using a multitude of different options. We're using aircraft, We haven't flown today, but we can use aircraft. We are currently putting air attack up since it's kind of cleared out to give us a view from above what things look like. But what I mean by that is we're using dozer line, heavy equipment, some hand line with crews, and then also engines. A lot of different strategies to protect the critical values that have been identified. And as most folks can imagine, the communities, subdivisions is where a big focus has been today for us. So moving around onto the west side of the fire. So this fire has progressed to the north. It did also cross Highway 21 to the west. So one thing we did have today, folks continue to get folks in place and continue to assess this fire spread to the west. One thing that we did do today, if we move the map up a little bit down on this west side of 21 in here into this Cow Creek drainage, which is this drainage right in here, we did use a UAS, unmanned aircraft system, to come in here and fly this with infrared ability to tell us where the actual fire was. It has come down to that drainage in some areas. It just gives us the intel to see exactly where that fire perimeter is. With the weather last night and the weather today clouding us, we weren't able to get our IR infrared flights that gives us a more accurate perimeter of where the fire is. So being able to use that unmanned aircraft system has allowed us on this west side to get us some good intel. What we're looking at in here, we have this wet drainage here. It's kind of rocky, not a lot of vegetation. Further to the west, there's old fire scars. What we're looking at is assessing options to maybe stop this west spread with some aerial ignition utilizing that UAS. Again, in the very early stages, just starting to assess that. Then as we come back down around here, again, a big focus on the south side of this fire, again with our structure divisions. We have multiple divisions, but we have a west side structure group and an east side structure group that are focusing heavily around structures and infrastructure. Again, on this side, along Highway 21 corridor, at the Warm Springs area, coming all the way down to Loman, and even further south, there's like 8 Mile, some of those other subdivisions. Where the structures were impacted a few days ago, we continue to have folks in there, continue to mop up and secure all of that. Moving back down along 21, we continue to do some prep and assessments. We're looking at all the subdivisions and structures moving kind of in a southwest direction towards Loman, including Loman itself. Folks are assessing what needs to be done. What kind of prep needs to be done? What type of hose or equipment, porta tanks, pumps, how much water is needed to secure and prep those areas in preparation for this, fire being around here for several more days. This fire is burning, as most locals probably know, in some very steep, rugged terrain, a lot of snags. So we look at those critical values to protect using a multitude of options that we are given and come up with ways that we can come around a subdivision, prep it, put in hose lays, pumps, have it ready to go. It may not be used for 3 weeks, but it's ready to go and should fire make a movement towards those critical values. We also look to focus on areas where we have a high probability of success. So this line, as I mentioned here on the west side in Division Whiskey in this drainage, that's part of assessing it, is to see what type of probability of success we think we have of of holding that. Or you have a fire scar out here, is it better to let that fire scar or fire just go into the fire scar? So again, focusing heavily. It's only day one for us. Our folks have hit the ground running, looking for all those areas with that critical infrastructure, communities, homes, and getting those prepped, hose, equipment, pumps in place, and then other areas focusing on where we will have the highest probability of success of protecting future values that are further away from the fire. Thank you.